Well, this is a lot more interesting. This is actually a lot more significant than one individual police sheriff or police lieutenant or police chief coming out for the Second Amendment. This is the actual Utah Sheriff's Association in its entirety coming out and actually stating in a letter to Obama, President Obama, that there will be a deadly war over guns if he tries to take away guns from average citizens and violate the Second Amendment. This is coming from the WashingtonExaminer.com. I'll post a link below. Just going to comment on it briefly and go over a couple other things. And it goes on to state that the Utah Sheriff's Association is pledging to go to war over any administration plan to take guns away, even if it means losing their lives. Now, hopefully that means the lives that get lost are the freaking tyrants, not the ones that are sheriffs in Utah, because they're upholding the Second Amendment. Calling the Second Amendment, the sheriffs in Utah, the association calling the Second Amendment a sacred right of citizens to protect themselves from tyrannical subjugation, which is absolutely correct. That's what will happen. The association's state-elected sheriff said in a newsletter, "We are prepared to trade our lives for the preservation of its traditional interpretation." In other words, not any kind of interpretation, which means, the whole the government is the only one that owns the guns. That's not an interpretation anyway. It says the right of the people to bear arms shall not be infringed. In a direct warning to Obama, the FBI and other agencies, the sheriffs of Utah wrote, "Make no mistake, as duly elected sheriffs of our respective counties, we will enforce the rights guaranteed to our citizens by the Constitution. No federal official will be permitted to descend upon our constituents and take away from them what was granted in the Bill of Rights, in particular the Second Amendment, which has been given to them." And an association reveals their concerns in a letter to the president just made public, and he also talks about, which says, while Obama wants an assault weapons ban and limits on ammo magazines, the president has not yet suggested he wants to confiscate guns, but he will, because it's not just the president, it's the elite, it's the money power. These are the feudal lords that run him behind the scenes. The only one we really know for sure is George Soros, but you also got to figure Valerie Jarrett, J-A-R-R-E-T-T, I believe the spelling is. She's a major power behind him too. Very socialist to the max, very socialist. And our president, even a guy that you think you elect, it's not only the rich, powerful money power. There's other people around him that control him. It's amazing, if you get down in details. And it's been like that for a long time, actually, Now, I just want to go into this a little bit. This is about Igor Panarin. This is a picture of him. He's KGB major. Because what I think is going to happen, if this actually gets pushed, comes to shove, what's going to happen is the United States is actually going to break up into several parts, because the centralized power is not going to be there anymore. And what you're going to see is other powers come in. So this is like the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. And this is really what's going to come down. So it's KGB I don't know if he's a major, but he was KGB Panarin. Now this guy's a bad guy. If you want to listen to a good KGB guy, that's Anatoly Golitsyn. That's the good guy, okay? He'll tell you what's coming down. But he says this guy, Igor Panarin, which I knew an Igor, he's most notable for his hypothesis of possible disintegration of the U.S. into 6 parts in 2010. They say it didn't happen, but doesn't mean he's basically on the mark. He's just a little behind schedule. Now he gained a lot more notoriety for that, and I'll show you what the map looks like according to him. It's bullshit, but it could be a roundabout correct. Shows like the eastern United States going in with the European Union, southwest United States going with Mexico, China taking over western United States, central United States taken over by Canada, Russia takes back Alaska, Japan goes to Hawaii. Of all these, I could see number one. Well, I don't know. I could see Hawaii going to Japan. I think if there's a vote put up there, they probably would go to Japan. It'd probably be about 50-50. But I also see China taking over Japan. So I don't know how that's going to work out. European Union actually is held hostage by natural gas because all their energy comes from Russia. And the European Union is actually getting more and more socialized as we speak and destroyed economically. That's the whole game that's going on there, the socialization of Europe, and it's going to be under Russia's thumb. That's really what's been going on. I noticed it's been that way for a long time. I used to see that 30 years ago they're talking about that. Nobody believed it. No, but it's a lot more apparent now. But actually, if there's a major fight between like certain states that break away, like say certain sheriff associations, like in the state of Utah, it could be Wyoming, Montana, Dakotas, North and South Dakota, Texas, that would be another state. Various other sections in other states, it could be like North Panhandle, Florida, North Central Florida, Western South Carolina, and North Carolina, parts of Georgia. The Northeast, well, I got to say this. I'm from the Northeast. I can tell you this. Generally speaking, most people in the Northeast don't give a shit. They really don't, man. They're more like superfluous. I can tell you one thing. More like the Italian Americans and stuff. They're not like that. Not at all. And probably about 30% of the Northeast is like totally hardcore Second Amendment all the way. They're in a minority, but the ones that are in a minority are like even more hardcore than the people in the South and in Texas. They're way more hardcore. Just believe me on that. Yeah, I'm going to point out something else with this. It's just good to talk about this shit because it tells people what's up, what's going on. Because, they don't want to just see like, there was a shootout between the sheriffs and the FBI or something like that. They want to know what the deal is, So, like, here's basically a warning letter to the president. Utah sheriffs warning Obama over deadly war over guns. They're not going to freaking play around. But when it comes down to it, it's like that line for the movie I just was pointing out, old Clint Eastwood movie. I think the guy was sitting in there, and the guy comes in there with a gun, and he's ready. I was looking for you for so long, and I couldn't shoot with my right arm, and I learned how to shoot with my left arm. And, the guy had another gun hidden. He was going to shoot, and he just shoots him, and he goes to him, when are you going to shoot? Shoot. Don't talk. Basically got the upper hand on him. And that's really what it's going to come down to. You got to be dirty. What might happen, too, what might happen is, if there's like a war and you got this crap going on, you think that the people might get disarmed? It might be the tyrants get disarmed. Hey. I mean, the freaking, what the hell you got that stupid thing out there? You call them the Homeland Security. They got 1 billion rounds. Well, hell, just confiscate all the freaking rounds from that and sell them to the people and then use the money to pay off the deficit, right? What the hell, right? I mean, they bought all these guns and rounds and shit. Just sell them to the people, right? Right? Hey, get some of your money back. That's the way I look at it. Hey, that would work, right? Hey, so you could do with things. Things can work both ways, too. And that's always been the case, too, like even in warfare. A lot of times, I never, like, hit the beach and stuff like that. That was, like, World War II stuff, But when I hit the beach in World War II, a lot of times there wasn't even the weapons for everybody to hit the beach. But you know what? There's always weapons that came up. There's always weapons that came up. And, a lot of times people in Vietnam, they wanted an AK-47. They just kill somebody to get an AK-47. They kill the Viet Cong, right? They get an AK-47. So nothing's actually, like, working both ways. For, like, confiscation of guns from the people could easily be the people push back if they got the balls to push back. Could be confiscation of guns from the Nazis that are trying to take over, right? Same deal. So, just giving you a psychological update here. I can only say so much. I don't know. I don't know what you could say on this damn thing, It's like all in a matter of interpretation. Sometimes on YouTube you can say, no, you shouldn't have said that or whatever. But hey, man, if you can't freaking have a Second Amendment, you don't have freedom of speech. If you don't have freedom of speech, you don't have YouTube. That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it is. Simple logic. And a lot of people out there in the major media, they're sucking up to the money power. And, even in their minds, they might think they're wrong. But, some of these newscasters talking about, oh, we don't need these assault weapons. And shit. They ain't assault weapons. Actually, my opinion is, I'd like to see this. I'd like to see everybody in China and Russia have a real assault AK-47. All of them. You know what would happen to the regimes over there? Because, like in Russia, it ain't so good. I mean, I'm not knocking the country, but, when you got a population that's going in reverse, that's telling you something's wrong with the country, I mean, their population's going down. That ain't no paradise. There's a lot of rich people in there, but most people are poor. They're real poor. I like to see just how well the freaking rig system works over there. If everybody in Russia had a AK-47, a real one, with a bunch of rounds and magazines and 30 rounds each and all this other shit. I like to see how that would work out for Putin. Ha ha ha. And same in China. Hey, everybody's got one of them. I like to see those elitist communist families that freaking throw everybody in a Leo guy and make them work for like freaking nothing and work them to death. I mean, they got nets outside the freaking windows in so many offices so somebody doesn't jump out and commit suicide. I mean, that's really wonderful, right? Somebody's making money off all that sweat equity, Now, if everybody had a gun over there, I wonder how much, I bet you things would equalize pretty good. And, the world ain't overpopulated. That's bullshit. There's so much land in the world, and by the time the land in the world gets used up, there's going to be like all the planets we can go to, for crying out loud, And, what's actually where energy and food crisis can be solved by one thing, hemp. Hemp. The elite don't let you use it, don't let you grow it. They're full of shit. They're full of shit. So, I'm going to tell you. Time to flush the elite down the toilet, like a turd. So there you go. Anyway, that's my update on this because it looks like it's not just a couple sheriffs. It looks like you got all the sheriffs in Utah going against this, and you might see various states going against it too. But the next thing you might see is that might cause the breakup of the United States. I don't know. See, this thing is not, even if these sheriffs win out, that's going to weaken the federal power. The problem is, I'll tell you most of the problem. I'm from New Jersey, but most of the problem is the liberal freaking morons that live in the Northeast. They're screwed up. I just I'd like to take them on a catapult and shoot them out into the ocean someplace. They're a bunch of idiots, man. Really, they're freaking screwed up. You know what it is? Because they're self-centered, asshole, jackass morons. That's really what it comes down to. They don't want to think. But there's about 30% up there in the Northeast that actually know what's going on. They're vehemently against this, probably more so than anybody in the state of Texas. So, it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. Basically, the shit comes from the Northeast. New Jersey and California are in competition with each other for stupidity. That's really what it comes down to. California does something, New Jersey goes, oh, I got to beat it. Then New Jersey's got to be the first idiot to do something, and California goes, I got to do that. And actually, it is elitist on the top, like Feinstein, Barbara Boxer, Lieberman, Bloomberg, freaking Cuomo, what the hell else? You know what I mean? All those shitheads. But who are they sucking up to, right? Who are they sucking up to? It's quite obvious. It's quite obvious. There is a new world order. There is a conspiracy. It's no bullshit. But if you don't have a gun, you can hang it up. You're not going to have a First Amendment. You're not going to have physical silver. And you're going to be screwed all the way. But I'm glad to see that some of these sheriffs, man, because they've been collecting money for a long time, man. They're actually upholding their oath. They're upholding their oath. And it's good because the people in Utah are going to back them up. It ain't just going to be the Sheriff's Association against the federal government. But what might happen is, just like on this map what old Igor Panarin says, let's hope not. Let's hope this all holds together. And let's hope we can just arm the Chinese and the Russians too and screw up their elite. Because that's what we got to do. I mean, America's still the citadel, but we got to arm the Chinese and the Russians too. I mean, the people. The people themselves, not the elite. The people. We got to give them individual weapons. That would be a good thing, because then you would see guys like Putin show what he really is. He's a bunch of garbage. And also what's going on in China. Actually, everybody knows that in China there are elite families that own that whole damn place. It's inside everything. It's who you know and every other damn thing. What family you're connected to. The same thing goes on in Russia too. I like to see the Russian people and the Chinese people armed to the teeth individually. Individually. And we'll see what happens with the elite. So guns in the hands of the people is the source of freedom. That's what it comes down to.